No.
All right, everybody. Boy, what a mess today. Let's see if I can get us back in streaming. All right, I'm back. I don't know if any of you will find me. I see me on the YouTube. So, all right. So, give everyone a minute to get caught up. Boy, what a mess today. First the Google monsters, then the power company, all trying to put the kibosh on me. The horror. It's kind of working, I think. Hope everyone finds me. Let's give a hello, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate John Bob Harris, senior editor of FootballDiehards.com. And we are a fantasy football website, not a tech company. You'll be surprised to learn. So are we. We've spent many years, been doing this for like 30 plus years now, and have learned a lot about technology and the ways of the interwebs and the ways of computers. And yet still, we don't always win the battle. So we're here now. I'll be ready to take your questions. We'll cobble this together this week and regroup. And should be fine for tonight's DFS lineup show with Jamie Calandro and Eric Romoff. So we got that going for us. So I'm just going to put out a tweet real quick here and just let everyone know that we've gotten back up. And hopefully we can get going here. What a mess this is. We take a lot of things for granted. And I think, first of all, let me just say, speaking of that, taking for granted, the people in Florida have friends there, coworkers, colleagues, everyone. I hope everyone is okay that we know there. And hope all of you are getting together. So all the whatever glitches and issues I've had today and we've been dealing with are minuscule compared to what the people of Florida are dealing with now. So if you can help anyone out there, please help everyone out. And I'm just seeing the Chiefs have ruled out Harrison Butker for today's game. Matthew Wright will be the kicker there. Michael Badgley in for Cairo Santos. Hello, Mr. Scampers. Hope everything's okay for you, man. Cairo Santos is attending to a personal matter, so Michael Badgley has been added to the Bears. So we got that going for us. A lot of kicker news today. I think we should focus on nothing but kicker news. It's horrific. 3-0 is tough. It's a tough start, 3-0, right? And so we get a little desperate, and hopefully we can keep things together. And once again, welcome to the Football Diehards. Ask Me Anything Saturday. A little delayed, a little wonky, but we thought we'd get there. I'm putting out a tweet real quick, just so if people missed the first one, which died in midstream, they can get in with me. I just want to make sure to take care of the peoples, man. One more time. I am now live. All right, here we go. Maybe that'll help some people. I tell you. All right, so everybody, I see the questions are rolling in, and so I'll jump right on them because we are behind schedule. And that puts me behind schedule. Like my entire life is a carefully managed minute-by-minute thing, and as soon as one thing goes off the rails, my entire life goes off the rails. So safe to say, my entire life is off the rails. But again, every time I say something silly like that, I think about my friends in Florida and realize what off the rails probably really is. So here we go. TG at a half-point PPR. Who is my best option from among wide receiver Chris Olave, wide receiver Gabe Davis, wide receiver Romeo Doubs, and running back Melvin Gordon? See what TG did there, everybody? I would like you to help me out by putting first initials or first names. In some cases, if you have lineup questions, first of all, narrow it down. Don't give me a list of 8 people. I don't care. I don't want to hear 8 people. I want a list of choose 2 of 3, choose 1 of 2. Help a brother out here. Also, put the first name, and if you want, put in the matchup, and that's very helpful as well. It'll just help me process the information. It's not like I don't have it all. It's not like I can't access it. It's not like I don't know a lot of it. It's just like I'm trying to move fast to answer all the questions. It's getting spicy here. So with that list, and well done to you, TG. So just let's talk about Chris Olave real quick. He's been amazing, has 165 more air yards than any other receiver in the NFL right now. A lot of that is due to the presence of one Jameis Winston, who has been unleashing it to him down the field at a remarkable rate. Will Andy Dalton do that same thing? Because we do think that there will be no Jameis Winston tomorrow. He's listed as doubtful. No reason to believe he'll play. And there will be no Michael Thomas. Might not be a Jarvis Landry. Think there will be a Jarvis Landry. Probably an Alvin Camara. Those guys are both listed as questionable. Also, remember that's an early kickoff, everybody, tomorrow. So if you're on the West Coast, get up bright and early. If you're in Texas like me, get up just as early as you always do. I got a radio show to do. By the way, you can listen to that show, Football Diehards on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, many days a week. I'll get into that as well. But I do like Olave, but I worry about the situation this week. Gabe Davis is questionable. I think that's an early afternoon kickoff, so you'll know he's playing. Do you want to play a limited guy? Romeo Doubs, currently the Packers wide receiver 1. I still would like to believe Alan Lazard is going to cut him off at the pass at some point, and it may happen anytime. But right now, Doubs is a pretty good place. Melvin Gordon, I'd like to play any of these receivers over Melvin Gordon right now. I'd probably go with Gabe Davis if he's active in this one, and I wouldn't be afraid to pivot to Romeo Doubs if need be. And Olave, I mean, it's the early kick. Like he may be great, right? I mean this is a tough call. I mean, just all things being even, I have Gabe Davis ranked ahead, right, for the obvious reasons. And they're playing the Ravens. I want a piece of that matchup, and I'm hoping Gabe Davis is ready to go. If not, then you can start sorting through and dialing down through the other ones. And also, if you like a little more clarification on the answers and what I'm discussing and some of the things I'm talking about, go to footballdiehards.com. Our rankings are there. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It's like really reasonable, and use the promo code Diehards for 15% off. Hi, Robert. Iron Eddie, you want a half-point PPR. How dare not to be a tech expert. Dare not to be a tech expert. I love that. Mr. Scampers, 0-3. Very tough start. Very tough start. Other than the 0-3 home. It's a very tough week. I'm glad you're okay. PPR, need one running back and one flex to start from this group. J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre Stevenson, A.J. Dillon, D.J. Moore, Treylon Burks, Zay Jones, and Chris Godwin. I thought I said something about narrowing these down. I think you did not. One running back, one flex. I'm playing Dillon, and I mean, the Godwin issue, it's a Sunday night game. So, I mean, that kind of, I'm looking to see if you have anyone in the Monday night game, and I don't see anybody there. Do I see anybody in the Sunday night game? I don't see anyone else there. So that kind of precludes him for me. So I think Dobbins is going to get more run this week. I think the Patriots are going to try and run like crazy on the Packers because they're not playing Mac Jones this week. I'm not really that keen on playing DJ Moore right now. So I'm going to oh, that was interesting. I'm going to play Dillon and probably Stevenson in this case. Right, and I don't feel confident. Please narrow these down, man. You've done this before. I'm glad you enjoyed the music, Robert. Appreciate that. Jeffrey Cooperman again. Need one running back and one wide receiver, no flex. CEH, Miles Sanders, Stevenson. Need one from this group. Okay, so I'm going to probably play CEH at this point and hope he continues to touchdown. Good luck. It's a tough matchup. I get it. So if it was an issue, I would probably go Stevenson next. Need one from this group. I'm probably playing, I love Greg Dortch. I'm probably playing Dortch from this group. I love Zay Jones too, but he's nicked up. It's horrible weather in Philadelphia, and it's the Eagles. And this looks like a good deal for Devonte Adams has been ruled out, the slot, corner there. And that looks like good news for Christian Kirk. Those other cornerbacks in Philadelphia, Darius Slay and James Bradbury, they're pretty good. So I'm probably going to lead Dortch. So remember, Hollywood Brown came up questionable. There's no AJ Green, and Rondale Moore is questionable. So let's say Moore comes back. He's probably going to play on the outside along with Hollywood, assuming he plays, then that leaves Dortch to keep working the slot, which seems like the better matchup for this game anyway. Boy, a lot of 0-3. I've got some 0-3 too, guys. James Peluso. So I'm trading Allen Robinson and Russ Wilson for Brady because I need some help at quarterback and no one on waivers. Tell me I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. You're probably giving up too much, but you're not crazy. I mean, if so who's not on waivers? Is Marcus Mariota not on waivers? Jared Goff not on waivers? Is it a 2-quarterback league? I mean, you're giving up a quarterback, so I'm guessing not. I know Allen Robinson is not good now. I also know it's like the first week of October, and a lot of players who aren't in this Denver offense. This Denver offense is not good right now. There's no doubt about it. Right? I'm not pretending it's otherwise. But does that mean it's like, is this maybe a slow burner where we're going to have the second half of the season a pretty good offense? I mean, Nathaniel Hackett's been around offenses that have been pretty productive during his time in Green Bay. Granted, he had a very good quarterback named Aaron Rodgers. He also has one in Denver named Russell Wilson, although, there's some reason to believe maybe Russ's game is diminished. Sure. But there's great weapons around him. So anyway, I mean, for this week, I'd be concerned about Brady just for the lack of weapons. I think Brady has been a little off schedule too, right? A little behind where I expected him to be. I think a lot of that has to do with the weapons around him. I think they're going to get better as well. So, I mean, it's not crazy. I'd be trying not to do it, and I'd probably be rolling out Russ and hoping for the best because I don't know how much better Brady is than Russ right now, just with the weapons this week. Who's the best waiver wire kicker? Stop it, Steven. I don't know who's on your waiver wire. Hi, Steve. I hope all is well. Better pickup and spot start this week. So, Steven, pick 2 kickers on your waiver wire and give me 2 options. If you want to give me 3, go ahead and give me 3. It's kickers. Figure it out. I hope all is well. Better picture and spot start this week for PPR League. Mac Hollins or Josh Reynolds? I'm probably going with Mac Hollins. Probably going with Mac Hollins on this one. So for 2 reasons, I think Josh Reynolds will have a good role. Seattle has, people aren't passing against them a lot. I have an article about this on footballdiehards.com right now. And people aren't passing on them a lot because they don't really have to. They're running on them a lot. But there's going to be no Amon-Ra St. Brown, if in case anyone hasn't been following along. There's no DeAndre Swift this week. And Reynolds and DJ Chark, both questionable, seem likely to play. Right, so it's an early kickoff, so I'd be fine, waiting around. But I think I still want to play Hollins because there is no Hunter Renfrow again this week. And right now, Mac Hollins is the leading yardage receiver who has more receiving yards than anyone else on that team. I'm looking at you, Devonte Adams. Get busy. I think they'll try to course correct a little bit and get Devonte Adams more involved. But I don't think that means Mac Hollins isn't involved. I'm probably playing Hollins right now over Josh Reynolds. Me, Bob Harris. Afternoon, Trey S. Need some help this week. Full PPR. Start 2. Olave, Kareem Hunt, Devontae Smith, or A-Rob. Also give Russell one more shot or roll out Cousins. I'm probably going to roll out Cousins this week. I think he's a good option. It's a tough matchup right against the Saints, and it's in London. A lot of weirdness. I did double-check the time zones and everything. It's not prime time there, so you got that going for you. Kirk, not good in prime time. So I'm probably going to – the matchup isn't horrifying for Russell this week, but I just like to see this off. I think I'm at the point now for Russell Wilson where I want to see this. I mean, I'm playing Javonte Williams. I'm probably playing Cortland Sutton. And Jerry Jeudy if you have him. But other than that, I mean, I'm not eager to play Russ. I'm gonna go ahead and play Cousins even in a tough matchup. Based on the last 2 days injury-wise with the Saints, would you go Chris Olave with the Vikings or Tyler Lockett with the Falcons? I'd probably go Tyler Lockett. And yes, again, in case you missed it, all our well wishes. We're sitting here talking about fantasy football, right? And people are out there, dealing with situations where they have no resources, no electricity, no communications, and all these things. So we realize we're dealing with total nonsensical problems, but that's what we do here, and we're going to keep doing our job. So, but yes, thoughts always with the Floridians, and thanks for a reminder, Scott. So I played Tyler Lockett this week, right? And so I'm not against Chris Olave. I just have the concerns. Does his game fit what Andy Dalton's been doing? Just Andy Dalton. Is this going to be a game where Andy Dalton dumps off more to maybe Alvin Kamara and we get a little more run for Alvin Kamara managers? Are going to be a little happier with how things turn out than they have been? I mean, I think pretty much what we've seen of Olave, again, I mentioned earlier, he has 165 more air yards than any other receiver in the NFL, 164. I exaggerated. So are we going to see that? Is that role going to continue? Maybe it does, or maybe it's a slightly shifting role because there's going to be no Michael Thomas. Right? Is that possible? Yes. So, I mean, there just seems to be a lot of, to me, uncertainty surrounding this. And, first of all, whenever it's an Andy Dalton show, is it going to be the Red Rifle or the redheaded stepchild? You don't know. Andy Dalton doesn't know. Nobody knows until he gets out on the field. Some games he's great. Some games he just evaporates. So it's Tyler Lockett. I want to say, I should look this up because I was getting hammered on this last night. Not hammered, but taken to school on this, and I think it's probably correct. And I just want to make sure I don't have it wrong here. Lockett is right now wide receiver 29 on our player performance rank. He's got 42 fantasy points. It hasn't been horrible, right? I think he's quietly gaining ground. So I'm going to do that. Like, I'm, again, not against Olave. I just feel a little more confident than what, again, and by the way, Olave is wide receiver 21, right? So they're right in the same tier, right? These guys are right at the borderline wide receiver 2-3 range, both of them. And so when I take that into account, and I take into account the quarterback situation, which I'm unsure of, if you're more sure about Andy Dalton, if you have more faith in Andy Dalton, or you believe that Chris Olave is going to suddenly emerge as a wide receiver 1 and grab all this bandwidth without Michael Thomas, it's a fair argument, right? So I think we've talked through all that, and I've kind of laid it out both sides of the argument. And if you want my side, I'm probably going to feel like I'm playing safe and take it easy. The Lions kicker is out, and I don't know that they found their replacement yet. I saw a name of somebody, and I can't remember who it was, who they got. But I do know the Bears have signed Michael Badgley. The Chiefs will be promoting Matthew Wright from the practice squad. So there are kickers out there, right? So if you need to make that pivot, make that pivot. Half-point PPR, Ramondre, E. Moore, Jay Dotson. So I'm probably playing Ramondre here. Again, I mentioned earlier, and I know Mike Reese from ESPN, ESPN, they put out a bunch of bold predictions, and, they're kind of forcing their hand. But it's maybe an overstating the case. But I think, he said they're gonna run for 200 yards. I think his point was not so much that they're going to actually run between he and Damian Harris, Stevenson and Damian Harris. Not so much that, but they're going to run the hell out of the ball, right? They're not going to lean on Brian Hoyer against the Packers. You would think, right? So it seems reasonable. Hi, Zen Carla. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. It was great meeting you last month. And Elijah Moore, there's a thought here for me. A lot of Zach Wilson questions, what's this offense going to look like? Maybe it looks like last year when he was throwing the hell out of the ball to Elijah Moore. I don't think it's an unreasonable gamble. And I say that same thing to Garrett Wilson managers. What is this going to look like? Is it going to be what we've seen the last 2 weeks, where we've kind of come to believe Garrett Wilson is a pretty high-end play, right? Because he has been. There's no doubt. He's a very good player. But what is the level of chemistry? Is this as much a Joe Flacco thing as a Garrett Wilson thing? There's some mystery there. Look, I'm still playing Garrett Wilson and hoping for the best. But I also, my Elijah Moore shares are going, maybe we get this back. I'm going to lay off Jahan Dotson in this one. I like him as a player, Iron Eddie. Not a real keen on this matchup with Dallas, who gets after the passer pretty well. And we've seen Carson Wentz does not react every time to that really well. Trey S., also full PPR. Start 2, Breece Hall, A-Rob, Jerry Jeudy, Singletary, or Damian Harris. I'd probably start Damian Harris as 1. And then it's between Breece Hall and Singletary. I don't want to chase last week's points with Singletary, but this can be a pretty favorable matchup if they're going to use him as a receiver. I'd probably go Hall. Hall's gaining a little traction, right? Jets' offensive line's horrible. But he is gaining traction. How it started out, Michael Carter was legit, the running back 1, the guy that Mike LaFleur, confused my LaFleur's, called the heartbeat of the offense. Well, now he's the heartbeat of the offense playing from behind Breece Hall. The numbers are starting to trend in Breece Hall's favor. So I kind of want some of that. For me, I'm probably going to take a slight lean to Singletary since they're going up against the Ravens, and I'm hoping they're going to throw the ball more, but I do feel kind of like I'm chasing last week's points. Stephen Pavey, I have to roll with Dalvin and Pollard unless I trade Kirk or for Fournette. I mean, it's a fair trade. You got to, so assuming you have some depth, because nobody was drafting him highly. He's just emerged and become this kind of player, right? That you can trade for a Leonard Fournette. I'd do this trade. I can start Gabe Davis, C. Samuel with Burks or Hollins in a flex. I mean, I thought you would have more. So these are your flex level plays, right? Oh, you can start Gabe Davis and Samuel with Burks or Hollins in the flex. So you start 2 wide receivers. Kirk's been one of them. He's been really good. Ooh, that's a little tougher. but I'm probably still doing it because I want Fournette really bad. I think he'll be a weekly starter for you along with Dalvin. And I'd be fine rolling with Dalvin this week. Remember, he played last year with that separated shoulder. He sat out a week, but once he got the harness on a week later, and so this week they're just skipping the sitting out a week. They went going straight to the harness. So I think he'll be okay, but he's not, he's going into the game not healthy. So there's that. I think Pollard's been, pretty damn solid, actually. More so than I would have expected. Or maybe I'm just a little Pollard skeptical. I think he's been great when he's given more opportunities. He's been getting enough opportunities, and Zeke's been playing reasonably well also. So, but I'd still think Kirk for Fournette's a good trade. I just wish you had more wide receiver depth. Remy, good morning. Ron Dreyer, great show. Thank you. This has not been a great show. I hope you all come back next time. This will not go down as our best show. Technical issues. If you're just tuning in, we battled Google already. It was fun. We won the battle. Put us a little behind schedule, so it didn't start until the bottom of the hour. Then we had a problem with a power glitch, and now we're back. And again, all my complaints are meaningless to any of you in Florida. You have all my thoughts are with you. All right, Steve Linder. So Ron Dreyer wants to know, I need 3 or 4. Kareem Hunt, Chris Olave, Rashad Bateman, Gabe Davis, standard scoring. Lamar Jackson is his quarterback. So I'm okay. The Bills' defense is getting healthier, right? It was like a shell last week. It's less than a shell this week. It's not less than, it's better than a shell this week. They're getting better. Poyer's coming back. Dane Jackson coming back. I want to say who else. To get Oliver will be back. I should check that. Yeah, Dane Jackson is questionable. Ed Oliver's questionable. Jordan Poyer's questionable. It seems like they're all heading in a better direction. Jordan Phillips is out though. So yeah, I think this defense is going to be a little better, but still, it's not like 100%. So, 3 or 4. So who's sitting here? Well, I mean, maybe I wait and see if Gabe Davis gets ruled out, and that makes the decision for me. I'm calculating. Leave me alone for a minute. So again, I feel like we build a narrative in our mind. I don't think Chris Olave can be not productive. I think he can be productive. I just think the circumstances that have made him as productive as he is have changed drastically. The quarterback's changed. The receiver working alongside him has changed. So if your concerns are less about that, I might just avoid. If you feel comfortable going with Olave, I'd say Gabe Davis because he's going in, with an ankle. And maybe he's inactive, right? Maybe that decision's made for you, and maybe you then don't have all the guys you need to make a good decision. So I go ahead and play Olave, Hunt, and Bateman, and take my chances there. Seems reasonable. So you give me 20 minutes, and I'll figure it out, right? 2 of these running backs, ETN, Pierce, and Penny. So Pierce definitely won. Don't let the matchup against Chargers scare you. Not just that Joey Bosa is out, but they've been pretty generous to running backs every week, right? Said James Robinson last week, and I think 2 previous running backs as well, I want to say. Who have been the last 2? I think I did an article on this morning. And let's see. I did one live. No, I've got one coming out later today that will kind of run you through all this. But it's a pretty favorable matchup. So definitely Damian Pierce. And then it's between, and so I'm going to play Penny over ETN. I think ETN's going to have a little value in this game. Obviously, James Robinson has been the primary rushing attack, but ETN has kept that receiving equity, so I feel fine with him. But this seems like a game where maybe you can run a little bit on the Falcons. And, the only question there is how much of the workload does Penny get? Travis Homer, by the way, is on IR. And he's kind of been a fly in the ointment for both Penny and Walker. Penny has been far busier than Walker, so I'm going to go ahead and play that. Paul DeSantis, first of a couple, and thanks for as always, Bob. First of a couple. Half-point PPR, start Damian Schultz or Ryan Tunyon. Did the kickoff times work okay for us here? Let me double check this. I think must double check my kickoff times. So we've got Dallas is kicking off. It's an early kickoff, so you'll know where are the Cowboys. So the Packers are definitely a late game. So yeah. So if Schultz is active, I'll play him. Hi, Bob, said Brad Stewart. With McCaffrey a game time decision and a late game, would you play Breece Hall or Rashad Penny instead? My opponent had it to a Thursday night, so just trying not to screw it up. So if you're trying not to screw it up, I think my gut feeling is McCaffrey's going to play, but honestly, I don't know. We'll find out. He got back on the practice field Friday. The previous reporting from Ian Rappaport suggesting that everyone was optimistic and felt like he was going to play. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable he's going to play, but do I feel comfortable enough that I'd risk taking a zero? I'd probably play Breece Hall over Penny in this one myself. And this is what I always tell you, because you'll find that overnight, if you're a subscriber to Football Diehards, I put up a number of updates from all the various NFL insiders, put a lot of stuff out on their Twitter or out in the universe. And I collect all that up, and I have that ready for you and give you some idea of what things are trending overnight heading into the day. And that includes the late afternoon kickoff. So if you can, Brad Stewart, check back on that, or listen to the Fantasy Sports Radio pregame show with myself and Jeff Mans from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow, if you can do that as well. Roster moves that are not consequential coming into me. And so, like, I get what you're saying, though, Brad. You're just trying not to screw up. I think it's a safe play than Breece Hall. But we may know more about McCaffrey heading into the game. So find a way to check that. If you're not a subscriber to Football Diehards, you should try it. If you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel, you should hit the subscribe button. It's right below me. Now that we've figured out how to get back into our YouTube channel, that's a whole nother story, people. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it's horrifying to battle the Google overlords. Hey. Anyway, I get chills thinking about it. Dame, and you're welcome, TG. I appreciate you coming. And I appreciate everyone coming. This is great fun. And again, you're helping me out with the names. I appreciate that. And try and narrow it down as much as you can. And when I seem dismissive of your question or frustrated that you've asked me about kickers, don't worry about it. I just try to get enough done here to help everybody. And PPR, Dame says, Hines versus Tennessee or KJ Osborne at New Orleans? Boy, that's a rough one, right? I have to get a better feel for this one, because that is an interesting. I'm gonna probably say, let's say Hines in that one. I think Osborne is, like kind of a big play guy that could, come up and get you a score or two scores or something at any given time. But it might also get you a zero. So I'm going to avoid that. Hines has not been fantastic, but he's a little better choice for me. Scott Kobe, DJ Chark versus Seattle, Richie James versus Bears, or Mac Hollins versus Broncos. I'm tempted to go Hollins, right? I mean, the volume has been terrific, and we're getting another game where there is no, and look, Denver's, fairly tough defense, so I'm not dismissive of that, Scott. I mean, Chark feels like the easy call if he's active, right? And like Matt Waldman, my friend over at the Rookie Scouting Portfolio and Football Guys, is really high on Richie James, thinks a lot of him. So, but I don't want to get too far in front of that. I think they're going to go run heavy against the Bears, because why wouldn't you? Saquon Barkley's been, the lead piece of that offense. I don't think that's going to change. So I think you're taking your chance a little bit with James. I don't think it's unreasonable. So I like him Chark off the top. And if he's not active, then easy pivot to Mac Hollins. But I like Mac Hollins a lot. That's a tough call, Scott. You've seen the targets. I mentioned earlier, he's right now the yardage leader, leading receiving yardage, leads the Raiders in receiving yardage over Devonte Adams. So it's not like there's nothing there. And this isn't a new thing, right, with Mac Hollins. This goes back to the summer where we started hearing the reports of how much Josh McDaniels really liked Mac Hollins, really liked what he was doing. Well, that became apparent when he became the starter. And he is a starter, right, opposite Devonte Adams on the outside, Hunter Renfrow in the slot. So it's not like he's a nobody. I'm tempted to play Mac Hollins. I think Chark is probably the smarter play if he's active. I like Mac Hollins. If Gabe Davis is out, who do I play out of Bateman or IF? You play Bateman. Steve. Thank you for a question that I feel like I can give a reasonable answer to instead of 7 reasonable answers. Don't you hate it when I do that? Like give you all 7 answers to a question with really just one answer. All right. Which 2? Hi, Pat V. Which 2 do you prefer? PPR, Zeke, Sutton, Ramondre, or Olave? Maybe in that order. I think that's fair. Maybe, it's and I feel like I'm overstating my case because I'm caught up in my own narrative about Olave. He's going to be the top, the de facto wide receiver 1 to me for Andy Dalton going up against Minnesota in London. And maybe I've overinflated in my own mind my fears about Andy Dalton. Or maybe not. So I kind of like him in the order you have him. Ramondre and Sutton, maybe a little closer, but I'd probably go in that order. No worries, Jeffrey. I appreciate you, man. Try and narrow it down for me. I'm just trying to process a little quicker. It's not a knock on you, man. Just trying to help everyone the best I can. I appreciate you coming. The Joker, who to start for flex, full PPR? Jeff Wilson Jr., Rashad Penny, or Ramondre Stevenson. So I feel like Jeff Wilson Jr. has turned into the guy that you know exactly what you're getting. Like 15 to 18 carries, 70 to 80 yards, and hopefully a touchdown. And sometimes Kyle Juszczyk gets that touchdown, right? So I do think it's a pretty stable workload for Wilson. I like Penny's matchup an awful lot, though, this week, that said, right? I think Wilson is a smarter play. I mean, he's not splitting it up really with anyone now, especially, with Deebo Samuel. I should be careful with that. Miles Sanders or Herbert? Herbert, easy call. Thank you, Andy, for a question I feel comfortable answering, like straightforward and easy. And I mean, I think all you have said out there going, why does he always, because nothing is black and white. That's why there's nuance to everything, right? There are different paths. You all have different thoughts about things. And you're asking me questions. And sometimes based on the questions, I can see the way you're leaning. And you're maybe just looking for some confirmation that you're not crazy. And so sometimes I'm just trying to give you that as opposed to really answering the question. I always try to answer the question, but I always also try to show you the paths and the various permutations and possibilities. My friend Matt Harmon at Yahoo and from the Reception Perception fame, will often talk about the range of possible outcomes. Because that's how we should think about things. We should not think about things as this guy's better than that guy. We should think about why we like this guy more than that guy based on the range of possible outcomes. So that's why sometimes I give you these lengthy answers that sometimes you feel like aren't answers. They are answers, I swear. Trust me, these are the answers you're looking for. Miles Sanders or Khalil Herbert. Easy call for me, Khalil Herbert. Because he's going to get all the workload, and the Bears run a high school offense, and they only run the football. One day they're going to come out and surprise the hell out of all of us, right? And they're going to let Justin Fields throw the ball 50 times. Because he hasn't thrown it 50 times yet this year. Hi, Brandon Neely. Need 2. Damian Harris, Romeo Doubs, Travis Etienne, Jahan Dotson. I'm probably going to go with Harris. I'm definitely going with Harris. I'd probably take a chance on Doubs there. I mean, I think Etienne is okay. I'm starting to believe... So just checking kicker news, people. Kicker news coming in on my Dick Tracy wristwatch. And if you're older than 70, you know what that means. Like me, okay, I'm not 70, but I feel like I'm older. The Bears elevated kicker Michael Badgley to the active roster, so they didn't just sign him to the practice squad. He's in, so Cairo Santos is probably out, or definitely out. Let's go with that. Let's put a finer point on it. Anyway, I'm probably going to play those. I'm probably going to double check something before I say something stupid, right? Sometimes this has been phenomenal, right? And maybe I just want to cash in on the momentum. It is Romeo Doubs. But it is the Patriots defense. I'm probably going to say not outsmart myself and go Travis Etienne. I keep thinking that at some point, Alan Lazard is going to make all my dreams come true because I really felt like he was a league winner when I was drafting him in double-digit rounds. And it's entirely possible Romeo Doubs was the league winner later in my draft. And maybe I just don't want to admit that. But I'm going to go with the running backs in that one, Brandon. Luscious Varinas, 44. Start J-Rob or Zeke. I feel like I need sense talked into me. I feel like even if Zeke scores this week, I need to move him. Like, I think Zeke, like last year, we thought Zeke was, and he did. It was a struggle for him, right? I'm not pretending it wasn't. Let's see right now. Zeke Elliott is running back 18 right now. Oh, no. I'm sorry. That was one. Let me check year to date. He might even be better than that, or he might be worse. Yeah, it's not been good, huh? Right. Last week was better. That said, I mean, I'm fine starting James Robinson. I mean, he's playing great, playing lights out. I don't know if it's a good time to move Zeke because why? Because he's not playing as great as you want. Get a good game out of Zeke before you move him. If he scores, maybe better if he scores this week, then move him. That's the good move. Timothy King, good morning. Appreciate you coming, Timothy. Block, start Greg Dortch or Juju. I'm starting Dortch. I got you, James. Trade CEH for Freiermuth for Patterson and Godwin. Yes. It's not a immediate return play in Godwin's case, but it is a Jacoby Myers has been ruled out. There you have it, people. So news is coming in as we're speaking. Kicker news and receiver news, which I'm going to get to on the website here if you're waiting for those updates to go up. They'll go up after I get done with this live stream, damn it. So, yes, I would do that trade and do it now. PPR Flex, DK, Ayuk, or Palmer. I'm going to go with DK, and Palmer is not an unreasonable choice. I like Ayuk. Is he going to see Jalen Ramsey? I don't know. Seems possible. Hi, Mike Levine. Full PPR. Nita. Appreciate you, man. Nita Flex, DJ Moore, Foreman. If Mac is out. Yeah. So you're not going to know that until the late afternoon. When the Cardinals are there late. Okay, Kareem Hunt or Darrell Henderson. Yeah, you're not going to know, when you're making this decision on the later guys, whether McCaffrey's going to go or not. We'll probably have a good idea of that. I think it's trending in a good direction, so I'm probably not going to go Foreman. And by the way, just, is Foreman really the true handcuff? Is he a plug-and-play guy? I don't think so. I think they probably split it up between he and Chuba Hubbard, just based on what we've seen so far. Don't know that for sure, but I think that's the problem. We don't know for sure. Maybe we gain a little clarity if we get no McCaffrey this week. I'm going to probably go with Hunt in this one. Jeffrey Cooperman, PPR, need a tight end to start. Irv Smith, Taysom Hill, Conklin, Logan Thomas. I know Conklin's been good, but with Flacco. But he was good before. So this is a funny thing about Conklin. We started hearing about this guy in June from the local beat writers. If you listen to the Football Diehards radio program, you heard people talking him up and saying, yeah, this guy, because we kept asking about CJ Uzama, or Uzama, as people correctly pronounce it. And everyone kept talking about Conklin, and that buzz kept going through training camp before the injury to Zach Wilson. So I'd probably lean Conklin. I like Logan Thomas, too. I think the usage has been great. Irv Smith is turning into a little more of a matchup slave. And Taysom Hill, maybe get some snaps at quarterback this week. So I probably like him in that order. Conklin, Thomas, Hill, and Smith. But I get your concerns. If you're leading with going with Hill, the thing with Hill is his work comes on a really narrow bandwidth, but they're really high-quality opportunities, right? Sometimes he's taking the snaps directly and gets his chance to run with them. So, I get it, and right now he's a quarterback too. If Andy Dalton's one snap away from being a quarterback, and you're going to get a ton of points. So a ton of upside there. So I get that. I'd probably play Conklin, but I'm not against what you're doing. What you're doing is not crazy. Jesse Cedillo, D. Pierce, C. Samuels, Michael Carter, or B. Cooks. D. Pierce. Jesse Cedillo, Stevenson, Olave, or Olave, or Jeff Wilson. Probably going with Jeff Wilson there. Higher floor. Oh, yeah. Higher floor. Olave's the swing for the fence play. That I don't know what's going to make the plans. Blocks. Do I start Russ this week or pick up someone like Lawrence or Jacoby Brissett? I'd probably take my chances with Russ myself. I would pick up Lawrence just because, last 2 weeks he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think this week is a tougher matchup. This week's a little more of a test for him. I'd probably play Russ this week, but I'd want Lawrence because I think Lawrence is going to be fine over the course of time. D. Pierce, A.J. Dillon, or Bateman. Probably still sticking with Damian Pierce here, just like the volume. A.J. Dillon, I'm fine with playing, but Patriots are pretty tough. Bateman has a great matchup, so there's some high end there, and he is a top 25 wide receiver. So I get that. I'll probably go with Pierce still. Would I pick up free agent Mark Ingram to stash? Nah, I think Camara is trending in a positive direction, getting better from the ribs, etc. So I don't know that I would. I don't know. I mean, he's a reasonable stash if something does happen to Camara. So, I mean, just in that regard, yes. Mr. Scampers, half-point PPR. Garrett Wilson at Pittsburgh, Juju at Tampa Bay, and if CMC is out, would you start Deontay Foreman over versus Arizona over either of these two? I don't know that I would, right? I mean, I just don't know. You know, I talked a little bit about it already, Scampers, but, you know, the problem with Foreman, and I do think he'll be the primary guy, right? But how much will they chop it up with Chuba Hubbard? That's kind of my concern. So I'd probably take my chances on one of those receivers, and I totally have tons of concerns about Garrett Wilson. I'm, you know, just based on the change of quarterback, right? And they might be overblown, just like my fears about Olave might be overblown. People, I'm not in denial here. I understand, you know, I understand what I'm doing, you know, in terms of my worries. I'm probably going to play Garrett Wilson and hope for the best, Scampers. But I wouldn't be terrible. You know, I think Juju's been okay, right? Actually, he's been better than okay. The last two games have been really okay. First game was not great. And maybe I have it in my mind that we're going to see exactly what Patrick Mahomes say come to fruition is like, you're not going to know any given week which guy it is. So I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson on that one. David Patrick, need one, need two. I need two, not one need two. I need two. He speaks English, David Patrick, better than I. Terry. Terry McLaurin. What have I told you about names? David Patrick. Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, Gabe Davis, Adam Thielen, Alan Lazar, Russell Gage. Gage is questionable, didn't practice Friday. It's a night game, so I'm going to throw him out. Gabe Davis is a little bit of concern. I'd like to play him if he's healthy. If he's playing, there are concerns here about his leg, so I'm going to probably play Scary Terry. And I'm going to say Gabe Davis. And if you've given me no indications of your leading, so that's the direction I'm going to go. Right? And I don't feel good about any of it. I don't like to play hurt players when I have reasonably good options, right? Just in general. I think Adam Thielen's a reasonably good option. Don't love the matchup. I think Lazard's a reasonable option. I think Terry McLaurin has been, kind of in a 3-leg split, but he's been kind of the bigger play threat. So Jerry Jeudy, again, not really sure, don't know that we've seen the consistent production I'd like to see yet. Herbert or Camara, I'm playing Herbert this week, Jesse. Stephen Pavia, kicker Q is mostly tongue-in-cheek. I picked up Mara Giles over Elliott. That's a reasonable play, and I appreciate that, Stephen. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell the joking or the tongue-in-cheek from not when I'm trying to go fast. So I appreciate it. I appreciate your patience and understanding on that. I do have a sense of humor. You'll be surprised to learn. I just usually leave it at the door when I come to the YouTube. Steve Linder. Not really. I keep it. I just don't always recognize the humor. Flex spots out of these. Russell Gage, Zay Jones, Dalton Schultz, Mac Hollins, Jahan Dotson. Need to sit to it. Sorry about all those names. You got them. You nailed them. So right now, Mac Hollins seems like the safest option of this bunch. Right, Russell Gage, night game. I think he's going to play. The only concern I have is he didn't practice Friday. Maybe it was just a day of rest because they list him as rest plus hamstring. He was limited the other 2 days, and so they put the rest designation in there because he just rested Friday. I don't know. It's confusing to me. Zay Jones injured his ankle in practice this week, and so that's never a good thing when it happens in week, and I don't like his matchup that much. Dalton Schultz just coming off injury. Haven't seen him for a week or two here, or a week. 2 weeks ago was the last we saw him. So I feel best about Mac Hollins, and like if he's healthy and going, I like Zay Jones, but I don't like the matchup, so probably going probably going to go Hollins and Jones here and hope for the best. If Jones is inactive, I'd probably pivot to Schultz. Lazard or Dubs to start, or maybe both and not start Thielen. Right, I think that's a coin toss, Marcy Amy won, to say your name correctly. I mean, my belief all along, and the happy story I've told myself is Lazard is the guy. The numbers to date tell you Dubs is the guy, right? So we rank them both, and and Thielen as well. All those players in like the same bucket right there, right? All in the same range. So this might be a personal preference situation. If you don't want to start both, you want to start Lazard. I mean, I think our ranking is Lazard, Thielen, then Dubs, all within 4 or 5 players of each other. So starting with I'd start Lazard and probably Thielen, and then wait on Dubs. If you had a hunch about Dubs because you like the momentum he has, and he does have momentum. Don't get me wrong. Go to the footballdiehards.com website. Check out my team notes. I talk a lot about Dubs this week, so check that out. So, but I'm trying to take look at this in the broader perspective, and I think Lazard is the guy I've expected to be. If you don't think that's happening and you think it is Dubs, start him over Lazard and play him with Thielen. Stevenson, Olave, Samuels, or Bateman? Jesse Cedillo wants to know. I'm probably playing, I want to say Bateman, Samuels. You'll be surprised to learn, if you go to Football Diehards, we have a ranking of flex players, all listed, all positions in one ranking. That's very convenient. So we have Bateman slightly ahead of Stevenson. It's very close. And so, and again, not being disrespectful, Olave's in that same kind of range, not far out of it. And, all these players are in that same range. That's why it's a difficult question, right? I get it. So, but that's the direction I go, Bateman over Stevenson. Wait a minute. Where do I have Samuels? Because I love Samuels. Yeah, I'd go Bateman. Like the matchup, too. Am I worried that McCaffrey will not play Sunday? I'm slightly worried, but he seems to be trending in a better direction. But you need to have a fallback plan in place, right? And it's a late afternoon kickoff, so make sure you have a pivot. Thanks, David Patrick. I appreciate you listening to the show. I appreciate you showing up here on a convoluted Saturday. Not the normal Saturday, everybody. Normally start a half hour earlier. Had some troubles. The YouTube was battling us. The Google was battling us. I fought back. Take that, Google. I don't want to irritate anybody at Google. I've already had enough trouble today. Stephen Pavia, PPR. Start Khalil Herbert versus New York Giants. Stevenson during the easy call. Khalil Herbert. David Njoku versus Falcons. Gerald Everett versus Texans, or Dalton Schultz versus Commanders. Full point PPR. Hello, Gerald Everett. Dana White. The Dana White. I need a DFC streamer this week. Okay, here's the thing about defenses. A unit with disruptive playmakers going against the weakest quarterback you can find. Green Bay? Maybe so. Would you pick up Richie James as a free agent? Yes. And I would cut Nico Collins. Maybe not Corey Davis. Probably Nico Collins. But Richie James is pretty high up the depth chart. I need 2 running backs from this list. Antonio Gibson, James Robinson, Melvin Gordon, Tony Pollard. James Robinson and Antonio Gibson. And Melvin Pollard is not like way out of the picture. I'll be honest with you. That's, Pollard's not unreasonable, but those are the 2 for sure, for me. All right, I'm going to be, I see probably more questions than I'm going to have time to get to, people, because I'm already half hour off schedule, so it's going to have to stick to an hour. So I'll try to fly through these last ones as fast as I can without a lot of exposition and explanation. What do you think about trading Jalen Waddle, James Robinson, Justin Jefferson? I have Cooper Kupp and CeeDee Lamb, and I have running back. I have Herbert and Connor and Devonte Williams. Probably not doing that. You got a lot of firepower wide receiver. I mean, and, I'm not against Jefferson. I think if he's down a little bit, but I think you're giving up too much to get him. I think Waddle plus Robinson greater than Jefferson. With Gabriel Davis injury, do you foresee Isaiah McKenzie benefiting if Gabriel? Yes, I do. The issue for McKenzie right now, and I mean, everybody there is capable of producing in this offense because it's a very productive offense, right? But he's, not the full. I mean, he's splitting time in the slot with Jamison Crowder. Maybe with Gabriel Davis out, I think that would obviously help both McKenzie and Crowder. All right, Jason Kondrack, Mooney, Duvernay, Hollins, Dotson. Hollins, Duvernay, Dotson, Mooney. Bears don't throw. Vikings D or Colts D? I'd probably play the Vikings D, again, picking on the quarterback, Andy Dalton. Colts are playing. Why is that eluding me? Yeah, I'm probably playing the Vikings. Thank you, the Dana White. Gets 12 team, 3-quarter PPR, 2 running backs, 3. Okay, so Gets, I'm not going to be able to do that question. Call the radio show, but you need to. So, like when you want to ask trade questions, I don't know what trades you should look for. I don't know what your other rosters look like. You need to go out and scour your other team's rosters, find players that have weaknesses at positions where you have strengths, and make them an offer that make both of you better. How am I feeling about Jaguars defense? Week 5-7 schedule looks real good. I mean, I feel great about them. They're playing really good football. So I think just generally speaking, I feel, a lot of disruptive playmakers, and they're playing super good football. So, yes, I like it. Jay Rita, start Breece Hall versus Pitt or Dameon Pierce versus LA Chargers. I'm playing Dameon Pierce. Hi, Andrea. Thanks for coming today. Sorry I was late. Will I play Brandon Cooks or Bateman in PPR? I'm playing Bateman. It is, weather is a factor all up and down the East Coast, right? So that is something to be taken into account. Brandon Cooks has been a little more disappointing than I expected. I think Bateman has been fine. And so I'm probably playing Bateman in this one. But maybe check the weather reports in the morning. Cooks is a perfectly reasonable pivot. Fournette or Jamal Williams, I'm playing Leonard Fournette. Andrea. Pat V, would you start any of these running backs over Dalvin Cook? Gibson, CEH, D. Pierce, Jeff Wilson Jr. I would not. Damn it, Dana. I thought you were the Dana White. Very disappointing. Not really. You're fine. You're a perfectly suitable Dana White. I appreciate you. I have Cleveland defense with Garrett out. Should I pivot to Arizona, Carolina, or New Orleans? I would pivot to either of those. Yes. I just don't know what, Jadeveon Clowney's questionable too. I don't know. Adam Thielen versus Saints or Matt Hollins versus Broncos, full point PPR. I mean, Hollins has been the volume guy. Thielen's been fine, though. I'm probably playing Thielen in this one. I think. I'm probably overthinking this. Probably play until Hunter Renfrow's back. Play Hollins. Blue Crew, 10-point TPR. Choose one of flex. Curtis Samuel, Bateman, Pollard, or I'm probably going to play Bateman in this one. If you're worried about the weather, Curtis Samuel, I could probably play Curtis Samuel as well. McKenzie, T. Lockett, DJ Chark, or Stevenson. I'd be fine playing Lockett in this one or Stevenson. Yes, Jacoby is officially out, which does mean don't start any pass catchers. That is a fact. Hi, Timothy King. Dynasty PPR possible trade candidates. Please rank Kirk, Moore, Judy, Wilson, Godwin. If you're looking to acquire Godwin, Kirk, I guess that's Garrett Wilson in there. In a dynasty, I'm probably looking to get Wilson first and foremost. But I love Kirk and Godwin. I mean, can't go wrong. Going with the younger guys probably is a little bit of a bias for me in dynasty. But, any of those three. I mean, these are all good guys to go after. Less so Judy and Elijah Moore. Thank you, Joshua K. So Khalil Herbert is my running back. might play Mike Williams in my flex. And, God. Sorry, man. I'm trying to move faster with this. I can't get to this. Ramondre, sorry, on defenses. You're going to have to figure out Josh, okay? Because I don't know the opponents right off. I mean, I'm drawing a blank, right? I'm trying to go fast, right? Help me out with the questions. Thank you. Ramondre or D. Harris tomorrow? I'm leaning D. Harris tomorrow. Streaming defenses this week. Giants, Vikings, or Browns. Now I see Garrett officially out. All right. I would like to get all these questions, but I'm not going to, obviously, because I'm over an hour and I can't figure out half the opponents here. Really helpful in the future if you write out who the opponents are. Not that I can't go look them up. Not that I don't know a lot of them. Just I'm trying to process information quickly, and this is not helping me. So anyhow. Hate leaving questions unanswered, but I'm running behind schedule already over a half hour, and I got to get updates up. So 1,000 apologies for that. 1,000 thank yous for coming. It's footballdiehards.com. All the answers to all your questions are available there on Football Diehards, by the way, in the rankings. So help yourself out there. You'll hear me on the radio tonight. You'll hear me on the radio tomorrow. Tonight, 8 to 11 p.m. on NFL Radio on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio as well. Tomorrow on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Tune in the YouTube channel tonight. There will be more information there with Jamie and Eric Romoff, Jamie Calandro and Eric Romoff doing the DFS lineup show. Thank you very much for the time. I'm very disappointed in myself for not getting all your questions, and hopefully I'll do better next week. Take care.